Thank you so much for being with us today, Alejandro. My name is Maeve. I'm one of Luke's interns this year with ALP. To get us started, could you tell us your name and your program affiliation and a little bit about your research interests within the field of applied linguistics?
Well, hello, thank you, May, for this. I'm very pleased and honored to share this session with you about open science and applied linguistics. I am a professor at University of Extremadura. I teach ESP, English for Specific Purposes, at University of Extremadura in different faculties. Right now, I'm only at the College of Business, Administration, and Tourism. That's the only place where I teach now in Cáceres, in the city of Cáceres. And but my colleagues teach English in other campuses in this university, because we have three different campuses. So we've been working on ESP and applied linguistics for over 30 years now, a long time. And well, we have done all kinds of things, but mainly working on the area of bridging research with teaching, especially in the area of using technologies, all kinds of technologies over the years, and probably now more focusing on integrating, as I think many people do, artificial intelligence with linguistics and corpora and this kind of work.
Super cool. That's so cool. You've been doing it for so long. Okay. And
A
then,
long time, yes. And I think that's the only good thing about being old. You do you've seen a lot of things going on, and developing over time. Yeah.
yeah.
So AI is the last one, but there have been more before.
Awesome. Can you tell us what was the motivation for writing this book, Exploring Open Science and Applied Linguistics, Reviews and Case Studies? And was there a particular moment when you realized a resource like this would be needed?
Well, I think this topic has been important, at least in my context. But maybe during this session, I will be talking more about my context, which is Spain and Europe, part of Europe, at least what I know about Europe, or my experience in Europe. And I think that the Treaty of Bologna, if you are familiar with this treaty in Europe, triggered this kind of developments, especially of course in the development of programs of different resources in open education, etc., and that went to research as well. I think that I've seen that change in open research and different mechanisms for open research, and but as maybe I will comment more than once today, in our area of humanities and language education, maybe this has been going more slow, has been developing more slowly, and so maybe we thought it was about time to start pushing this type of topic, in our context. And the specific event was the conference of AESLA, which is the Spanish Association of Applied Linguistics in Spain, which took place in April of 2023, 2 years and a half ago, where we had different plenary speakers from different places, not only Spain, in Europe, and then so there was a kind of like a thematic line about open science and applied linguistics, and two of the plenary speakers focused on this. One of them was Emma Marsden, and the other one was Carmen Pérez Llantada, two reputed professors in this area. So after the conference, we thought a good choice would be to have a publication on this topic with selected papers from the conference. The usual thing that this association does is to publish a volume, a traditional volume, which is the norm for these type of events. So we're going to do it with a publisher, with a regular publisher. And then, well, I'll talk about that maybe later a bit more. We went with ALP, but I think that the main thing was to try to come up with a good volume of selected papers on this topic, very specific topic, which was not easy because we didn't have many contributors at the beginning. Because in the conference, the topics vary a lot. There are all kinds of topics, and English is one of the languages. We have more languages in this type of events. So especially Spanish, but also French, German, etc. So it was not easy to come up with a solid, unified volume for this. But that's how we started, at least,
All right. Can you also describe more how does open science connect to the larger movement toward equity and accessibility in academic publishing?
Well, I think it's crucial. I mean, in the sense of providing a democratic way of accessing information, knowledge, which is something essential for academia, not only academia, but uh, the developments that are taking place everywhere in the world, socio-cultural developments of all kinds, as we see at each period of history. So open science would play a key role in that, moving from the traditional way of seeing science and academia in general with more rigid access to information and a privileged way of accessing information to a horizontal way of doing this. And this is something that really is really appealing for me. I'm sure that for many people. But one thing is the theory, and another thing is the practice, as we all know. But it's very important. And one of the main barriers I see, and I've read all these scholars focusing on the bridge, on the separation between the global north and the global south, or if you want to call it the weird countries, the weird societies, WEIRD, Western industrialized, educated, rich societies, versus the other ones where in some places they may not even have running water. So how can they access this technology and these resources? So it's a big challenge, but these are crucial steps, and I think even if they go slowly, I think they should go on, and we should all support this in some way or another.
Definitely. I love how you say that because it is very important and can help everyone. It's not so selective to some people who can benefit from research. But yeah, kind of jumping into the next question now. Several chapters in your book discuss tensions between openness and privacy or ethics. How do you think researchers can navigate those tensions responsibly?
Yeah, well, I think in my experience, from my experience, again, I would have to address the problems that we usually encounter in humanities and in language education in our context, where we have had these rigid approaches to this traditional way of doing science, of doing research, and where you have these very reputed publishers, where we all have to publish, where we really demonstrate our value. And I think this comes from this encyclopedic way of thinking. In Spain, it's always been a tradition of the book mentality. You have to publish your book with this very important publisher, blah blah blah. No? So that's the big challenge. And like I've read, and I love reading people like Meng Liu or Al Hori, Luke Plonsky, Emma Marsden, of course, and how we have this responsibility as researchers, and especially the senior researchers, the more experienced researchers, where we all had, or we already have, our own tenured track and positions, etc. So we don't have anything to lose anymore. I mean, in the sense of let's do it. Let's go for open access, and forget about. I agree with Harhuri. I mean, I forget about the big publisher. I mean, don't publish again with them. This is in my case, in my experience. Of course, I know for younger researchers, you have to follow certain things. But at this point, this is the major step that we should take, and go on from there. And that's why publishing with ALP is a big initiative in that respect. One more, but it should be one more among many, to really move this big development.
Yeah, Alejandro, if I can jump in there, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I appreciate that. But the responsibility does really rest on, I think, the more senior scholars in the field
Mhm.
to commit to open access outlets, and
Mhm.
recognizing that the prestige that that any particular publisher
Mhm.
has it not has it because we all decide as a community of scholars that it has it, right? It could be anything. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be Wiley or Cambridge or Routledge.
Mhm.
That it sort of it should be sort of bottom up, from determined by the community of scholars in
Mhm.
applied linguistics or any discipline.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
totally with you on that. I'm glad
Mhm.
you mentioned that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Mhm. Yeah,
Ex-
the bottom up is very important. Yes, I agree with
The
that.
democratic approach, as you put it before, sort of a more
Yeah.
democratic approach
Mhm.
to disseminating research and also to deciding what has value in the field.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
Exploring Open Science and Applied Linguistics is an edited collection. So, how did you and the other volume editors decide on the topics and authors you wanted to include in the book?
Yeah, well, this was, as I said before, an invitation for all attendees in the conference, see how they reacted to this, and if they were willing to do it. We initially received more proposals than the chapters that we have in the book. But some people weren't convinced, and so they withdrew their proposals later when we said, well, we're going to do it with ALP. See, this is one of the reasons why we still have to work hard on this. People want something like big, like Cambridge, Oxford, as Luke was saying, or other people want a special issue in a journal. That's all. Why? Because young people like you, I understand. I was there before, and I understand. You have these agencies that evaluate you based on metrics, on citations, and based on these journals, blah blah blah. Everybody wants to publish or needs to publish in those journals. So you say, okay, let's do something different, a volume in this other outlet, blah blah blah, and people may say, well, I can't, I don't have time, or I need to prioritize my work, etc. So that was the situation with the book, and that's where we went from. Oh, I was going to say before, initially we were going to publish it with one of those publishers. Okay, we were in the process of doing it. I already signed the contract and everything, because AESLA, the association, always encourages this kind of publication. So we were in the middle of it, and I was talking to Emma Marston, and she was the one who told me about ALP. I didn't know anything about ALP, so she put me in contact with Luke, and that's it. And I started talking to him and say, okay, what about this? What do you think about this? We went through the process of peer reviewing and seeing the different issues for the publication, and it got accepted, and we moved from there, and it went great. I mean, it was a very similar process to any other publication in a big publisher, question marks, and sorry, these marks. But we developed this final product, with these chapters, and we saw that it was quite suitable for the line of work in ALP with open science and applied linguistics. So there's a first part of 4 chapters focusing more on the theoretical aspects more than anything else, going more from more general issues in open science and humanities and even social sciences and language education, and then progressively getting more specific into key issues dealing with our own daily work as researchers and teachers. And then a second part with 3 more chapters going to very specific cases, situations with open science in applied linguistics and in language education, since, as I said before, we've been working a lot on this area. And also languages for specific purposes, which is another key area where we have different research groups in Spain. So that was the process and the development that took place for this volume. And I personally I'm very pleased with the volume. I'm happier with this type of publication than if it had been in another publisher. That's my experience, and my colleagues too. They were very pleased too because it's easy to distribute. I mean, everybody can read it, and many people I've heard from that I know from the association and other events, and they told me about the book. Oh yeah, I read it, very nice. So easy to access and to share and to check for your own research or your own possible initiatives. So maybe this is a way of encouraging other people to do something similar, and that would be a great hope for this. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. That's super cool to hear that how well it's worked and how happy you are like taking the path you have with this book and that it's just worked out so great and you've been able to reach such a huge audience with it this way. Kind of
Yeah, and I
going.
think not only our book, but any books published with ALP and with any other initiatives like this, we should all be there and promote it and share it. Yeah,
It's true. None of us write to have our work locked up in a library that's only accessible to the wealthy universities or to have our work behind a paywall. None of us want that. And so I get great satisfaction out of seeing, every once in a while I can log on and check some of the like the downloads and the hits on the website. And I just, I'm so happy to see that people all over the world, I think well over 100 countries, people have accessed and downloaded books from the ALP site. So to me, that alone is success. People in places that certainly would not have access to don't have access to books published by other publishers. So I get great satisfaction from that.
Yeah, I get the best satisfaction from that, and I hopefully people are realizing that and it's going into research agencies, hopefully, because in Spain now I see a bit of change in that direction. They are seeing that, okay, if this publication is being moved, is being cited, is being downloaded, so it should be recognized, and so
Sure.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely. Kind of going along this train of thought with like they're looking at the bigger picture. How do you think if every applied linguist adopted more open science practices, how do you think that would change the field within the next decade?
Well, I mean, that would be something that hopefully that would happen with a change of mentality. So when people change the mentality, things happen. And how do you change mentalities? This is a bit of what I was saying before. In my context, is to change that kind of you have to publish there with this big name, so that's how you are a prestiged professor, etc. changing that type of mentality to a different one, where you have different resources. You are not what you publish in certain places, but what you do and what you demonstrate in your work. So all different types of outlets, like diamond journals. I mean, these should be uh, promoted everywhere. I mean, we should promote diamond journals. We have our own diamond access journal in the association. It's called Iberica. I don't know if you heard of this journal. This has been going for 25 years, and it's focusing on languages for specific purposes. But we had it in the association, and of course, is how have we survived and how have we managed to put the journal up there? Well, because we had altruistic people working on this. We don't. We have the members of the association working on this collectively, small groups, or even individually. In my experience, at the end has to be, I think, and I sense the same thing here in ALP. It's not large groups that start things, but small ones, and little by little, and big effort, of course, a lot of effort. But there you have the results later, and you start gaining people, attracting more people to this. So it's a slow process, but I think it's slowly going.
The momentum
So I
is
think
building, yeah.
patience also, yeah. Mhm.
And by the way, yeah, not a big group. You're looking at it. This is it, Alejandro.
Oh
This
yeah.
is the whole operation.
So
Just us three, and
yeah.
it's a lot of sort of kind of a startup mentality, but that we
Mhm.
think there's not really money in this for anybody. It's about, but it's the right thing to do, we think.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, but if you are able to attract big people,
Yeah.
I mean, researchers who have always published in the traditional places, but now they realize and they move and they start doing things here in ALP or in other initiatives, and then that is a good name. People are going to recognize the name and say, yeah. So this should be a good place to publish,
Yeah, and that's
So.
happening. That's happening. If you check out the catalog of books that ALP has put out, both that are out already and that are forthcoming, lots of really, really great scholars are
Mhm.
involved already. Yeah, just
Yeah,
one quick
yeah.
clarification, just for anybody who might be watching this video, Diamond Open Access means totally free to download and to view, to read, but also for authors, because some publishers or journals will have authors pay to make their work open access, but a Diamond Open Access publisher is free for authors to make their work open access and also free for readers to download and view for everybody. Another, in addition to Iberica, another good example is the Dutch Journal of Applied
Mhm.
Linguistics,
Mhm.
which was published with a for-profit publisher, but the Dutch
Mhm.
Association of Applied Linguistics flipped it to become an open access journal. So similar situation,
Mhm.
sort of an
Mhm.
association-based journal like Iberica. But and Sibla Andringa has a really great article about that out just last year. If anybody wants to check that out.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
What advice would you give to early career researchers who want to integrate more open science practices in their work but might not know where to start?
Yeah, well, I understand that you have to go on and publish in these outlets to gain recognition and to be promoted and all these absolutely justifiable reasons. But I would recommend all young researchers to get involved at the same time with open science projects somehow in some way or another. For example, one example would be in our association. I tell people, I said, uh, contribute with any ideas for a forum to where people can publish can their results on their research projects or to share with other people. That way, you combine these these developments, these projects with your publications. So it's a way of combining and complementing these. And I would say get involved by participating in the conferences. These are major challenges, and I know it's not easy, because in my context, I'm sure in almost everywhere, like attending a conference, giving a talk in a conference, even organizing a conference, they are not going to give you too many points for that in your curriculum vitae. But I think it's necessary. So, because at the end of the day, you are going to be there and they are going to know you. I mean, for example, if you organize a conference, your name is going to be there. People are going to know you. It's not only the articles. So you are going to be there, and they may email you. They may contact you by email. And I'm sure all of us have received emails from people in the other part of the world, doing their doctoral thesis or something else, some other project, and saying, "Oh, Dr. Curado, oh, yes, I am really interested in what you did," and blah blah blah. So it's a way of sharing the research and the teaching also. That's another thing I said, that we should always keep in mind that the research should be good, not only for other researchers, but in our context of teaching languages, it should be good for teachers. So thinking about the teaching community, and this is, I think, another key issue in the book, that we have to bridge the gap that still exists between research and teaching. And why don't teachers read the articles? Well, maybe we are just writing for our own little community. We should open up and write for other people and more, and this open access mechanism would be a very good channel for that. And so there are many ideas, possible ideas, that younger researchers should consider and work on to be there and to promote this type of different way of doing things, I think.
Definitely. And then that kind of brings us into our last question we have for you now, which is there a particular takeaway or idea you hope lingers with readers after finishing the book?
Well, if we could somehow contribute to this idea of making people realize, get to know a bit, and see the important path that open science may lead to. So this is a new, as we were saying, that it's a new paradigm, and things can evolve and can be advantageous for everybody. So it's not only like a few people profit from this, but no, I mean, we all profit from this, and we put the knowledge, the science, as many scholars have said, we put it back to us, to our domain, not to the businesses or anybody who is controlling all this. So I think to be able to let people realize a bit and take that path would be very, very like a mission accomplished for me. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, those are all the questions we had for you today, Alejandro. Thank you so much for joining us. And I also wanted
Thank
to
you. It's a
mention
pleasure.
that today is the 1-year anniversary of your book being published with ALP.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
congratulations on that.
Yes,
Very
thank you.
exciting. But yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much,
Well, thank
Alejandro.
you.